NFL playoffs. You like drama? Well, we might get some on Sunday. Rams-Bears, 6:30 Eastern. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams spoke today about the opposing quarterback, Matthew Stafford. It's new on SportsCenter.
He's fundamentally sound, and so when you talk about the footwork, I think it starts there with him. But then as you talk about an experienced player that sees the field really well, he understands defenses, he knows how to manipulate defenses. He's got a great feel for the game. They're very much a premier play operation. You know, they get into really good football plays against whatever defense that you're into, and that's a credit to the head coach and play caller, obviously, but also Matthew has a lot to do with that because he's got complete control of everything that's going on. And so it's no wonder that they're scoring so many points that they are right now.
I mean, how he plays the game. You drop back and he has what everybody calls snake eyes and things like that. And just knowing defenses, knowing the offense, and being able to move people where you want to move them is something he's been able to do very well. And then trusting and believing in his guys to be in the right position at the right time. And so, learning from that is big.
I have a wonderful trio to kick things off. Courtney Cronin, Lindsey Thiry, and Harry Douglas. Courtney, I'm going to start with you. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams both had very nice things to say about the Rams offense, but Chicago's offense keeps starting slow. What can you share about the Bears' issues with that?
Christine, Ben Johnson shared a cool nugget post-game that during training camp, he flipped on the film of Super Bowl 51, which we know was the Falcons and the Patriots, the first ever overtime Super Bowl because the Falcons had that 28-3 lead, and then they blew it. The reason that he did that is because both Joe Thuney and Grady Jarrett, now veterans in this league, were young players on both of those teams. And the message was, how do you finish a team off when you are up that much, and how do you come back when you are trailing by that much? That's something that Grady Jarrett said still stings to this day because he was on the losing side of it, but it's a message that has been prevalent throughout this locker room all season long. Caleb Williams talked about the pressure. We know that he thrives in those moments. He says he feels his calmest. It's when his conditioning shows up the most. You saw it there on that 4th and 8 pass to Rome Odunze in the comeback effort over the Green Bay Packers. But he knows that the most pressure he's going to face in this divisional playoff game is going to be starting faster in the first quarter. It's something that could contribute to the run game. The Bears have not gotten off to the start that they've wanted to. Running the ball, they have the second highest explosive play rate in the run game throughout the season. That has not shown up the last couple weeks. So it's going to be an emphasis there, an emphasis on a complete game on offense. Ben Johnson told me that they absolutely need to have their best, most complete game on offense to be able to take the Rams down and move on to the NFC Championship.
All right, so Harry, we just heard everything that Courtney laid out offensively. How can the Bears defense try to help their guys by slowing down the Rams offense?
I'll say number one, creating turnovers, forcing Matthew Stafford to throw the football, 2 guys in a Bears uniform. This team and this defense, I would say, they're number one in the lead in takeaways. But Matt Stafford, in his most prized possession, is Puka Nacua. He's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL this year. How can you minimize Nacua? I don't think you're going to stop him, but if you can minimize his big plays. So what does that entail when you talk about playoff football? It's taking things a step further in your film study as players, as coaches, understanding the tendencies of Matthew Stafford and also Sean McVay and how they want to get Puka Nacua the football. Now, it's easier said than done because this offense is revolved around Puka Nacua, and they shift him, they motion him, they move him around all over the place, so it's hard to kind of double team him. But on critical third downs, that's what you're going to have to do to minimize his play in this ballgame.
Okay, so Lindsey, HG just laid out what Matthew Stafford will have to do. He's obviously banged up. He banged up his right index finger in the first half against Carolina, and he struggled a bit the rest of the game. How will that affect him moving forward?
Well, Christine, we are on right index finger watch here in Southern California, I can tell you that. But we aren't going to see much of it today because the Rams are only holding a walkthrough. That's pretty routine for them at this point in the season. Matthew Stafford is scheduled to talk to us in about 4 hours, in which case I'm hoping we'll get a very clear glimpse of that finger just to see how he's doing. But Matthew Stafford has always been known for his toughness, and he even said after the game this week, like, by come Sunday, I'm going to be good. Sean McVay McVay is echoing that same sentiment. He says Matthew Stafford's as tough as it gets. We are going to be good to go. But here's the real kind of X factor that's the unknown. It is sunny today and 80 degrees here in Southern California. In Chicago, much different conditions expected. The weather's supposed to be in single digits. How could that affect Matthew Stafford's finger and really his ability to throw the football? That's an unknown. Sean McVay doesn't expect that Matthew Stafford's going to wear anything to support that finger, though he does say, like, maybe everyone should put their gloves on.
Yeah.
So we are very much waiting around to see how Matthew Stafford looks throwing the football, but not likely to see any of that today.
Yeah, he might be wearing gloves regardless. So HD, he's also old, but he's kept this offense on track. Outside of offense, what else are you monitoring in this game?
Well, for the Rams, it's going to be, their secondary, who got ate up last week by some young wide receivers of the Carolina Panthers, Tedderoy McMillan, and also Jalen Coker. Can you contain the wide receivers of the Chicago Bears? Because they do have guys. You look at DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Luka Burton III. He's been phenomenal. And they also have quality tight ends that can receive the football. Colston Loveland, their rookie tight end, he had a masterful game last week. So can this secondary play better than they did a week ago? And then secondly, do not allow special teams to be the dark cloud over this football team in this matchup. They got a punt block last week versus Carolina. When you look back at the regular season, there were 3 losses where special teams played a big part in those losses. The Philadelphia Eagles game, they got multiple field goal kicks blocked. You look at the game versus the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night, where a punt return got ran back, and then the San Francisco 49ers, where I believe a field goal and an extra point got missed. You cannot allow special teams to be the dark cloud on your football team and allow you to be getting sent home. And as a former player, we used to say this: Cancun on 3, Cancun on me. You better make sure special teams don't send you to Cancun.
I was going to say it is win or go home. Lindsay, Courtney, good luck. I saw the feels like is actually in the negative, so just have fun out there. Try to stay warm. Harry, I'll see you in a little bit. Round matchup between Drake May and the Patriots and the Texans and our dominant defense, Sunday, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Pat's coach Mike Vrabel was asked, are the Texans the best defense you faced?
Yeah, of course. They have great talent, great scheme. They play hard. I respect how hard they play. And they're just not only talented, but they have a play demeanor that I can appreciate. If they get blocked, they don't stay blocked long. Can power different moves on the edge. So they play hard against the run. It's not just if you run the ball that they're taking plays off. So 2 really good, bookends.
All right, my brother from another, Harry Douglas, he's back. So Vrabel's Patriots, they're facing a Texans defense that held Pittsburgh to just 6 points, scored twice on their own. What is the key for the Pats offense to have success against Houston's defense?
It's going to be their offensive line, and can those guys hold up? Now, this is the same offensive line last week versus the Los Angeles Chargers, who allowed 5 sacks. Now, quarterback Drake May, he's a part of that as well. You cannot hold the football too long against this group that you're going against this weekend, because like Mike Vrabel just said, this will be the best defense that this offense that's led by Drake May will face this entire season. I would also say this about the offensive line of the Patriots. Drake May was sacked 47 times in the regular season. That was the 4th most by any quarterback. So you have to make sure that you are protected and your O-line protects Drake May. But then also this, when you look at this defense of the Houston Texans, it's not just their defensive line in which they are phenomenal, but it's that linebacking group. It's also that secondary. They have guys that are very athletic, see ball, they get downhill, they arrive to the ball carrier with bad intentions, but also they have the ball skills to pick footballs out, to force fumbles as well, scoop and score like we've seen from Sheldon Rankins, shout out to the University of Louisville, this past weekend. So you better be on your P's and Q's and limit all the mistakes possible, because the Houston Texans are ready to capitalize off of them.
L's up, everybody. Texans at Patriots, by the way, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. Harry, I will see you in Miami. Thank you.
No, Christine, one other thing. You asked EJ about his height. Well, I'm 6'1". Until I'm working with you and you come with your thick heels on with your boots and your,
exactly.
Exactly. So we're flats, Christine. That's the moral of the story.
Can't wait to see you.